Here you have an inferior person, an inferior hero, who has clearly been upstaged by now by the superior hero, who's Achilles. I'm talking about Agamemnon, who is socially superior to Achilles, but who is heroically inferior to him. And by the time we reach scroll 19 here, it's clear that even Agamemnon has to admit, okay, I really messed up. And he does it in a very ungracious way, and he's not a good speaker, whereas Achilles, even when he's really angry, he's still gracious when he needs to be, and he's a great speaker. He's a master speaker. And it's very symbolic here that Agamemnon doesn't even stand up in the assembly. He just does it from a sitting position, saying, you all understand what I'm doing. So, a heroically inferior but socially superior person is trying to reach a final deal with the heroically superior but socially inferior person, and that's Achilles. And how does he do it? He does it by telling a myth. And a myth here is something that is for the record. Ancient Greeks, when they say muthos, do not mean myth the way we say it when we talk about fiction. This is for the record. And the myth that he tells, which is for the record, is how another socially inferior hero, Herakles, was put through all sorts of routines called labors by a socially superior hero who was definitely heroically inferior. And so unwittingly, Agamemnon is telling a micro-narrative about Herakles that illustrates his own inferiority. He doesn't even get it, but he's doing it. And how can we be lucky enough to get this warped version of the Herakles story? It's because the master narrative, the macro narrative of the Iliad, sets it up this way. Through the speech of Agamemnon, where he tells his own version of the Herakles myth, we really see, of course, there is an analogy here. Herakles is to Eurystheus as Achilles is to Agamemnon. Embedded in this amazing story is the basic truth value that Herakles becomes the hero that he is because of Hera. Hera is the goddess of being on time. We talked about that. And yet, Hera, the goddess of being on time, makes sure that Herakles is not on time. And because he's not on time is why he becomes socially inferior, because otherwise, if he had been on time, he would have been socially superior. So it's a real test for this hero. And in a sense, the 12 labors of Herakles, that's one version of many different versions of Herakles myth. The 12 labors he has to undergo because of his social inferiority, but those same 12 labors prove his heroic superiority. And so in a sense, was Hera doing Herakles a disfavor by making him late, by making him not on time? No, just the opposite. It's because of Hera's making Herakles late, being not on time, being out of sync. It's because of that that Herakles proves himself as the superior hero. And here's the best part. Hera, as we know from linguistic studies, and I single out here the work of Alexander Nikolaev, Hera is related linguistically to hōra, which is the word for being on time, and gets even better, it's related to hērōs, which is the singular word that we translate as hero. It's a perfect illustration why a hero is himself or herself not somebody who's on time. He is not on time and won't be on time until he dies. That's the beautiful thing. And similarly with Herakles, Herakles as a typical hero, a model hero, is not on time, will become on time only when he dies, but by virtue of trying to catch up through his whole life, as exemplified by his 12 labors, he becomes the greatest hero of his generation. And what's beautiful about that is that his identity is even encoded in his name, because his name is Herakles, which means he who has the kleos, the glory of Hera. He owes his kleos to Hera.
So his name is sort of a micro-narrative.
The name itself is a micro-narrative, and what you just said, Claudia, is a beautiful recapitulation of the researches of a wonderful scholar who is no longer with us, Nicole Loraux, who says that a name is a micro-récit, a micro-narrative. You nailed it.